From the Gmail, this one, Mr. Fuller. This is from Mr. Mann, says this. If a non-white person was charged with a criminal offense, how could they argue that they was only charged due to systematic racism, white supremacy, as a defense without repercussions? And in Canada, the federal police, RC, MP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, were created to control black and indigenous populations post-Confederation. And just recently, the head of the RCMP admitted to systematic racism existing in the RCMP. How do I expose this in court without repercussions? Okay, let's go back to the first question. If a non-white person, Mr. Fuller, was charged with a criminal offense, how could they argue that they was only charged due to systematic racism, white supremacy, as a defense without repercussions?
Well, it's going to be repercussions in the system of white supremacy, so you just include that in your presentation of whatever the case is about.
Of course not.
By raising the question, are we in a system of racism or not?
Put the knife down.
Your Honor, whatever the procedures are, if you're allowed to ask that question. You know, I am contending that I'm in a system of racism, so that is the major factor in all of this, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the government of the entire world is a system of white supremacy. So there's no way to be outside that system. There's no such thing as we have racism in this place and we don't have it in another place. You have racism everywhere, every inch of the planet. Every inch of the planet, you have racism. That's a dominant factor in all governments, so-called governments. Because it's not with one real government, and that is in capital letters, the system of white supremacy on planet Earth here in 2021. So you can always bring that up as the dominating factor in whatever's going on, and then take it from there.
Okay. Then he said
it's going to, the repercussions will be, well, no, we're not in a system of racism. I mean, this is a court here, and we're not talking about racism. We're talking about this particular case, a case of property ownership or something like that, or a murder case, or a case of assault, or whatever the case might be. But then you raise the question, does white supremacy exist? Then the next question is, does it exist here, in this courtroom, right this minute? After you answer the first question, does white supremacy exist? Then you want to know, does it exist here? And then we go from there and just keep asking questions. Because the first thing you have to establish is, does white supremacy exist, and where and when does it exist? Does it exist everywhere, all the time? So these are questions to be asked at that time, regardless of what the situation is.
Okay.
Once the element of racism is open for discussion, once they allow you to talk about racism in that particular case. Because you first have to get permission to talk about it, you know.
Yep.
And then if you're not given permission to talk about it, you should ask, why can't we talk about it since it's pertinent to the case?
Okay. Second part of that question, before we go to break, he says that in Canada, the federal police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, were created to control black and indigenous populations post-Confederation, and just recently, the head of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police admitted to systematic racism existing in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. How do I, he says, how do I expose this in court without repercussions?
You simply repeat what you have been told, that it does exist, and then ask a question. Should that be considered as a factor in this particular case that involves the person who is in court? If the person is of color, and even if the person is a white person, you could say, the lawyers and whatnot can bring that up. Is racism an element in this particular case? Because we have reports that there is racism in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. True or false? And if there is, could there be some seepage of that? Or could that be a dominating factor or a factor of any kind in this particular case involving these particular people who are in this particular court at this particular time? Questions. So you go into the question mode and stay there. Now, the repercussions will probably come from statements that you make, but you didn't make that statement. You can just present that as possible evidence, a newspaper clipping or whatever.
Yes, sir. Even though he says that he has, or that the captain or whoever, of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police admitted to systematic racism in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Wouldn't that be proof of that the head admitted that this practice has been going on?
Yeah, yes. You present it as possible proof, and if there's any semblance of it at all, I mean, I would present it as evidence.
Yes.
Or evidence to be considered, and then we go from there. And if they say, well, you can't, some, report that was made 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even yesterday or today. I mean, well, that's not pertinent to the details of this particular case. And then you raise another question. Why not?
Okay, hold it right there.
The whole thing is stay in the question lane.
Okay.
Because of what? According to the code, all problems are solved through what? The process of questions and answers.
Okay, we're going to leave it there as we take a break, Mr. Fuller, and we'll come right back to that because I'm going to ask you a question on that.
Look at this. Look at this. He's got a fucking puncture mark to fucking prove it. Yeah, yes I do. I grabbed you by the arm. If a knife stuck you, then hey, it wasn't my intention. I just tried to grab you from waving a knife in front of my face like that. Call the cops. Call the cops. I'm going to sit here and wait, and I'm going to show them this video. I'm going to show them this video right here of you attacking me. Straight up. I'm showing the fucking cops you waving a knife at me and me grabbing your arm with the knife in my hand. Yeah. Look at it. You're coming at me now. Put your knife down. Put your knife down. Put your knife down. Straight up. Let them come. Trust me. You attacked me. Let them come. Let them come. You attacked me. I got it all on camera. Let them come. Tell her to call them. I want them to come so that they can see. They can watch this whole video. They can watch the whole video and they can see you waving a knife at me, coming at me. They can see me backing up.
50 fucking friends were just watching this.
Okay, that's good.
I have a knife. He has a knife.
Yes, you do.
I told him to get the
Put the knife down.
place.
This is my place. I signed papers to be here, remember? Remember when before we moved in here, I signed a document with the landlord as one of the tenants. I just transferred you rent money today, hours ago. And now you're telling me I can't stay here after you got my money. No. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, tell them to come. Tell them to fucking come. Tell them to come. Tell them to come so I can show them everything.
So I have this.
Tell them to come.
This from his fucking knife.
Yeah.
From me trying to get him out of the fucking my place.
The place that I'm a tenant to.
Drinking, but it's in my name.
And you're drunk. And you pulled a knife out on me. You're drunk.
My ex.
You're drunk and you pulled a knife out on me.
This is my ex.
You're drunk and you pulled a knife out on me. And you threatened my life. And you tried to kick me out of my place.
This is
And you keep
place,
and you still keep coming
and
at me.
I have been trying to keep it in my place. This is the puncture wound on my hand from his knife that he has in his hand.
No.
Get out of my place, Adam.
Get out of my place. Get out of my. This is my place.
This is in my name.
No, it's in my name. I have text messages.
Have my name.
I have text messages from you.
2039 Gladwin Avenue, Abbotsford, BC.
I have text messages. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I have text messages from you.
Had you known that
This is my place.
In your place, you would have got the messages from the landlord.
From you.
Yourself.
I got them from you, saying that you
the
excluded
landlord
yourself.
But
Okay,
you never
I have
wanted
messages.
that. You never wanted
I have
it in your place
I have messages from
because
you, and then I have you attacking
are
me.
a known convict.
It doesn't matter.
Theft.
It doesn't matter. I'm a criminal. So what?
2039 Abbotsford.
I'm a criminal. So what? This is my place. I have text messages from you,
He has a knife in his hand.
and you have a knife in your hand.
I have a knife in my hand for defense.
And I keep backing up because you keep threatening me.
Have a knife.
And you waved it at me.
I also have a baton. I'm also at the front of my door.
And you
My
waved it at me.
entrance. You know, so after I leave my place, I have no knowledge of what he's capable of. He's been in prison for 15 and a half years for theft.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Say whatever that you want to say, but
you know,
these are my
all the girls
couches.
that want to be friends with this guy.
Look what you did to my
And
table.
all the girls that want to fucking.
Look what you did to my table. Look at look what you did to my table. And she's trying to make it look like I'm the violent one. Look what she did to my table. That's crazy. I want to keep this on record just in case. She was yelling and screaming like, look at this. She flipped the chairs over, the table over, the whole 9 yards. Because I supposedly cheated on her. So now she's drunk and I supposedly cheated on her months ago, and because she's drunk, she wants to grab a knife and threaten my life and wave it in front of my face the whole 9 yards. Like, come on. She's flipping my table, she's waving it at me. Like, come on. That's crazy. At me. She's outside right now. That's her right there, walking. I told her I was waiting on the U-Haul truck. She became impatient, started fighting with me. She attacked me. She pulled a knife out on me, the whole 9 yards. And yet, I'm the bad guy. Cops are here. Let's deal with the cops now. No, they're coming after me now. It's all good. I have everything on video. 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 You can view it for yourself. You can view it for yourself. Okay, yeah.